Welcome to SEO Hackers, the SEO podcast for the people, where we discuss SEO issues with your website and your business. All right, welcome to episode 3 of the SEO Hackers podcast. This week we're going to be talking about repurposing content, and I have brought up the last blog post that I did this with, but before we do that, let's get to the SEO news of the week. So let's talk about 3 different news items. I've shared all of these in the SEO Hackers community. So if you haven't joined yet, go to SEOHackerz.com. That's my phone. Let me mute that. And that'll bring you straight to the SEO Hackers community on Facebook. I will eventually build a website for that. But for now, that'll take you to the community on Facebook where you can interact with other website owners and bloggers and so forth about your SEO. We've got a post going for guest blogs. We'll do some critiquing of each other's websites. We have a case study going for internal link building, and I was a little upset with that. Speaking of which, that my some of my rankings actually took a little bit of a dip after I started that. But they seem to be rebounding now. So I'm excited for this Thursday to see how we're doing. And of course, I post some updates. And so these are the 3 updates. These are 3 of the updates I've shared in the last week. First one is Google lets advertisers add a third headline to text ads. And this is on Search Engine Journal. So this is pretty cool. Search Engine Journal. This is AdWords. So it's not SEO related necessarily, but most SEOs also do AdWords, or they partner with someone that does AdWords. So you can now add a third headline to text ads, and now I'm going to have to go and edit some ads for some clients. I do have some AdWords clients, so I will edit their ads so that you can now show 3 headlines, which it's cool. And let me tell you why it's cool. I'm going to show you. If I were to search for, I'm going to go back to my favorite one, plumbers. And you'll see 3 ads here, and you'll see none of them have 3 headlines, right? So now if I were a plumber and I edited my ad to have 3 headlines, my ad is going to stand out. Now, I'm a little bit of a rebel when it comes to ads. You can see these are, well, this is actually Better Business Bureau, but these 2 are all, their ads are very generic. They're very, they don't excite me. I would create an ad that says something about, I don't know, leaky pipes, or something that's going to get their attention. Like I have a landscaper I work with, and one of his ads says, your neighbors are laughing at your yard, something along those lines. I don't remember verbatim. So those are the kind of ads that draw people's attention. So that's first. So 3 headlines. That's an opportunity, because if these plumbers don't update theirs, your ad is going to be the one that stands out. So there's 4 ads at the top. Yours will be the one that stands out. Update number 2. Not really an update. This is something I've talked about on my own blog, on my own website, scottgombar.com. That's also where this podcast is hosted. But how do you optimize your Google My Business listing? And this is one of those things, again, just like the 3 headlines on AdWords. If you don't if you're not aware, if your competition is not aware that these things exist, then you might be missing out. And what I mean by that is, well, I'll give you an example here. They're not reviews, Google Posts. So this is a newer feature, and it's not what you think. It's not like a Facebook update. This is where you post like specials. Like you can, like I post how I have a free SEO audit on my website, and so you can post specials that you have, and people will see that. So if I believe, I don't know if the special expired. So let me just do mine. So if I go to Scott Gombar, and you'll see, it's not showing. It's not showing, so maybe mine expired too. Let me try. Or maybe I should just log into. So I'm going to try one of my clients, and I'm not seeing it now, but maybe it's only on mobile. Another thing is on mobile when you search. So I've set them up so that they can also receive text messages from people on mobile when they bring up their Google My Business listing. But the post should display specials that you may have, and it could be anything really, but it'll display specials that you're having. There's also this monitor thing, and this is something else that a lot of businesses are not paying attention to. So you might get, and you've probably seen this where, and I'm one of them, there are Google people that review businesses on Google, and I'm one of them, more for research than anything else. And what'll happen is if I've gone to a business and somebody else has asked a question about that business, they may ask me to answer that question. So I just got one yesterday, and let me look at my phone so I could tell you what I'm talking about. The question wasn't something I can answer. It was a very specific question about the business, and I couldn't answer it. But my point is, so there are other people that might try to answer it, and when that happens, that could be a problem, because other people are going to see this answer, and if they see this answer, then they're going to want to know why. If the answer is not a good answer, they're going to want to know why they're getting such a negative answer, and they might think that this is a review of the business, so they might think it's real information from the business if businesses are not paying attention to it. So it's important to pay attention to it. I've noticed a lot of businesses don't necessarily pay attention to their Google My Business listings, and it's really important that you keep it up to date and pay attention to what's going on with it. So I'll go back and find out why I'm not seeing those posts. I'm pretty sure his expired in June, but mine should not have expired, so I will check that. And then finally, I talked about the Google Core update on the last podcast, but it appears that the Google Core update from, it's been almost 2 weeks now, had a big impact on health and medical sites. And you hear this referred to as your life or your money, YL or YM or YMYL. I might have it reversed. And yeah, YMYL is right here. So what that is any site that deals with money or your life, meaning medical sites or financial sites, people that advise on these things are going to be looked at more critically than most other websites on the internet. And so a lot of these sites took a big hit because they may not have been legitimate medical or financial sites. So what are the numbers here? I don't really see any numbers, but a lot of those sites took a big hit. So you may be familiar with the pharmaceutical sites that sell prescription drugs, maybe from Canada. they may have just disappeared from Google. I don't really know the impact it's had, but so this is something to be on the lookout for. I know some people blog kind of, I wouldn't say it's doctor site or they're selling prescriptions, but they might give some advice on diet or on how to maintain diabetes naturally, things like that. So I don't know if those were impacted, but pay attention to your traffic and your rankings to make sure that your site didn't take a hit from this update. So something to look for. All right, so that's the news, the SEO news for the week, and a little bit of AdWords news for you. And this week we're going to talk about, before we get to that, because I always forget to do this. I almost forgot last week. I did forget the first week. If you want a free audit, SEO audit, it should take 15 seconds of your website, you can just go to scottgombar.com or scottgombar.com/audit. I have a few different links for it. I even have another domain that points to it. I just can't remember the name of it at the moment. It's something like auditmysite.com. Just come here. Just go to scottgombar.com, enter your website. You can enter a competitor if you want. You don't have to. Put in a keyword, your email, and phone if you want. You don't have to put in your phone and scan. You'll get your results right then and there. I won't email it to you. You'll get it right there. It's supposed to take 15 seconds. Sometimes it takes a little longer, but it should never be more than a minute. You'll get a lot of useful information. And it'll tell you what you need to work on, what you need to focus on. So that's something you can do on my site. The podcast is hosted on my site, this podcast that I'm recording as we speak. So there's the first 2 episodes. And then there's lots of other information and the link to the Facebook group is here as well. So if you wanted to go to the Facebook group, there it is. Okay. So you have that free. I don't charge, and I may or may not even email you after you do the report. That's up to you. All right, so this week we're here to talk about repurposing content. I mentioned it last week in, I think I did it so we have a Thursday night thing, 9:30 Eastern. I do the SEO Hackers live after dark from the Facebook page. So it's live from the Facebook page, and I welcome everybody to join me. Anybody who's a member of the group can join and contribute, or we can talk about your website, whatever you want to do. And I think I brought up repurposing there as part of another news article. So here's a blog post that I repurposed. So you can see I originally wrote this in October of 2014, repurposed it, edited it in April of this year. And what did I edit? So the original article was 6 reasons you need local SEO to crush your competition. I'd say there's probably, I'm just making these numbers up, I don't know, 50% of local businesses don't do any local SEO. It might be more than that. And so if you're a local business, you have an opportunity to grab a lot of people's attention, because a lot of people come to one of 2 places. And that was another article I shared last week. So I'll get to that in a moment. But they'll come to either Facebook or Google to look up local businesses. So when I needed an HVAC person, I went to Google. When I needed a landscaper, which, by the way, if you're local to me and you listen to this and you're a landscaper, I still need one, because I don't know what's going on with these landscapers. They're either don't show up, don't want to do it because you can't get their stand-on lawnmower through my gate, or they're not very good at what they do. So if you're a landscaper in the Meriden, Connecticut area and you're interested, give me a call. Anyway, so I went to Facebook and asked for referrals. So just about every town in the United States has a Facebook group. So the article that I saw, and I believe I shared this to the SEO Hackers Facebook group, was that Facebook is trying to compete for your local business traffic. So instead of going to Google and looking up businesses A lot of people, and I see this all the time. I'm belonging to most of the groups in the area, most of the town focused groups in my area. I belong to them, and I see just about every day somebody's asking for a referral for some type of business. So that's important to pay attention to that too. If you're a business owner, I know a lot of businesses don't do that. And then I know businesses that do pay attention to it and make a killing from it. So just pay attention to that. So anyway, back to this. I updated this article a couple months back, almost 4 months back now. And 6 reasons you need local SEO to crush your competition. So I added this piece, the summary, because this is something we'll talk about in a future episode. But voice search is picking up steam, and numbers say that by 2020, 50% of all searches will be voice. When voice search returns, if you've used it at all, you know it does not return, I don't know how many words this is, 1,200, 1,500 words. It does not return 1,200 words. It does not even return 100 words. It returns a few words, 2 sentences at the most. So there's a chance. It's difficult. The other thing is it doesn't return 10 listings on one page. It returns the number one listing. So if someone were to say, Alexa, give me 6 reasons you need local SEO to crush your competition, it might return this result. I don't know if it will, but it might. So as you can see, I wrote this 3. So I started adding this to all my blog posts, by the way. So some type of summary right at the top. This also gets people to stay. And what I've meant to do, and I haven't done yet, is go back and create anchor texts. And now that I've had a conversation last week about anchor text and its impact on SEO, I'm going to do that. So what is anchor text? So I make this a link that comes down to this. That's anchor, not anchor text. I'm sorry, an anchor link. Okay, so that'll be another case study I'll start. I haven't started it yet, but we'll see how that goes as far as improving rankings and traffic. So I should be able to click this, and some site owners do this already, and it goes to this. All right, so here's the 6 reasons, and it's a summary. So somebody will come to this page and say, okay, I know what I'm getting into here, right off the top. And then they'll either stay or leave. And what people have found, what studies have found, is that people are more likely to stay if you give them a reason to stay, and this is a reason to stay. A little bit of an update. So I wrote this 3.5 years ago, still getting a lot of attention according to Google Analytics. So I went into Google Analytics, looked for a blog post that was still getting traffic from a while back. So a blog post I wrote a while ago that still gets traffic. I have one on Instagram that I wrote years ago. And Instagram has changed so much since then, but it still gets a lot of traffic. And it's something about why you should use Instagram for business. And it was way before Instagram really took off for business. And that blog post, so I am going to go back to that at some point, because I'm also going to do branding for SEO. So according to my Google Analytics, it was getting a lot of traffic still, a lot of attention. So I wanted to update it and refresh it for people because it was a little stale. And then I linked this to last week's episode, which was about Google Analytics and Google Search Console. So internal link. I just did this last week, obviously. I decided to update, refresh it for spring 2018 for a couple of reasons. First, I want to show my audience and clients how repurposing can be used to drive qualified traffic to your blog website. It is a tried and true method. So I did this before. This is not the first time I've done this. And the first time I did it, just one hack will increase your website traffic by 95%. I almost doubled my traffic to, and you can see these are my actual numbers, to that one particular blog post. So let me see if I can find it here where it was. I have something I need to fix on this blog post, but anyway, I don't see it here. Yeah, I have some things to fix. I don't know which blog post I did this on, but I think it was a Twitter one about Twitter. I'm not seeing it. So yeah, I'm not seeing it, but there's some things I need to fix on this blog post. So it's a good thing I came here. So I updated, and I did this because I had read case studies by I believe it was Backlinko, so Brian Dean, where he did the same thing and got increases of 200 to 300%. So I doubled my traffic. Didn't get the results he got, but you know what? I'll take it. Doubled my traffic to that particular blog post just by repurposing it. So let me go back to this. And I did this again. And this one received a 91% bump for a couple of weeks. So I'll tell you what I do. So the blog post obviously talks about why you need local SEO. And here's the reasons: branding, which we're going to talk about in a future episode; sales, you're not going to survive without sales; traffic to your website and ultimately to your business; it's cost effective. Local SEO, you if you choose to do it yourself, you're really not going to pay anything as long as you know what you're doing, because it'll cost you a lot if you don't know what you're doing. And that'll be in lost sales. If you want to pay someone, you can do your research on whatever SEO you decide to work with. Get a couple of quotes, get some, ask questions, ask a lot of questions. I'm creating an FAQ for my website. I've been plugging away at it little by little as I have time. So do your research on who you hire. If you hire someone good, it's not going to be cheap. I'm not going to lie. Neither is an AdWords person, neither is a social media person. None of these titles underneath digital marketing are going to be cheap. I feel like I'm reasonable. I'm not cheap. I'm not the most expensive either, not by any means, but I'm not cheap. It will, over time, it won't be instant. And that's the other thing, the other common misnomer about SEO is everybody thinks, oh, I'm going to be making a killing in a month. That's not the case. But it will be cost effective over time. Within a year, you should have a positive ROI. So don't expect short-term results. You may get short-term results. It does happen. I've had some get results within a few weeks, but it may take 6 months to a year. I would say average is 6 to 8 months. Competitiveness, if you want to remain competitive, and ROI, everybody's favorite acronym besides SEO, of course. So that's what this blog post talks about. I updated the content. So under each subtitle, I updated it. You can see it says update. I've added some more backlinks, or internal links, I should say. And so this is one of the FAQs. What is SEO? So if you click on it, it takes you to my definition of what SEO is. So that's what I'm working on still. A bunch of those. And these are ideas to increase traffic on your site. This is going to keep people on your site. So one of the things I need to fix, I just haven't really looked into it, to be honest with you, as you can see, my links are a little hard to see. So I'm working on fixing that throughout the site. You should also have links out external. So I should point to other things. So this points to another study that was done: 80% use search engines to find local product service information. I don't know who this person is. I found their blog post, their study, and I linked to it. We're going to be talking about schema markup too. So look at this. Websites that use schema markup tend to rank 4 positions higher in results pages. I've touched on this in the group already. I will do a podcast on that as well. I think it's less than 30% of all websites are even using schema markup at this point. I believe at some point schema markup will replace meta tags. So I just finished my first steps to SEO success meta tags article. I I believe at some point this will replace meta tags. So something to think about. You should be doing both for now. And if you're not, set it up. All right. So back to the case study blog post sales, traffic. Here's your update. Okay. Cost effective. Here's your update. And competitiveness. Here's your update. So you can see I added quite a bit of content to this. I think I almost doubled the size of the blog post. And the funny thing is, so if you want to humble yourself a little bit, I'll give you two keys to humble yourself. Number one, use Grammarly. It'll humble you real quick. And number two, go back and look at blog posts from 3, 4, 5 years ago, and you'll see that you have developed over time, whether it's from learning tricks and tips and so forth about blogging or just growing as a person. This blog post, if when I wrote it, I thought it was great. When I read it after I updated it, I thought it was terrible. So I think it's great again. It's nothing special. I just took, it was really more of a case study, but it's also timely information and important to have. And I'm telling you, when I first read it, this post from 3.5 years ago, almost 4 years ago now, I thought it was terrible when I read it this time. There was some grammar mistakes, spelling mistakes, just things that needed to get fixed. So what happened? What happened was, and I should have saved screenshots from it because, like I said, this was a few months back, almost 4 months ago now. Traffic increased 91%. So almost the same results as the first time I did this. Almost doubled this. So my suggestion to you, go find a blog post that's still somewhat relevant, update it. And so I did share it again. I shared it I was doing email newsletters at the time. I'm no longer doing email newsletters for this particular website, this is my core business. I don't do it anymore. I have the Facebook group. I shared it out to Twitter and Facebook, of course. And I don't think I put it on Pinterest. So I'll add an image for a pin and see how that goes. But I shared it in a few different places. Traffic jumped on this blog post 91%. So that's a huge jump. That's double your traffic. And so what did I do? Throughout my website, there's ways for me to, there's call to actions. So and I should have added a button in here, but I didn't. But there's share icons. There is links to get your free, there's related posts, and then there's links to get your free audit down here. And then look at this. I don't have any comments, but I have 3 trackbacks. And one of those trackback, it means somebody linked to your content. One of those is UpCity. UpCity is a big SEO community and set of SEO tools. And they linked back to my article. I did not submit it to them. I think they saw it on Twitter and linked to it. So there's another opportunity. So these other 2 are not, I looked at them at the time to make sure they were legit. They were legit. Then they don't have the juice that UpCity has. That is a legitimate backlink that gave this article, this particular blog post, some juice. So that's pretty awesome that I got that. Find a piece of content on your website, go through it, update it, fix any grammar errors. Grammar does count. If grammar is not your strongest attribute, then use Grammarly. It's free. There's a paid version, but I use the free version, and it's awesome. It fixes everything for you. It tells you. The only annoying thing I don't know if this happens to anybody else, but for me, if I'm trying to, like, it doesn't, and I could probably fix it. I just haven't taken the time to do it. There's some annoyances you ignore, and so this is one of them. So I don't think it recognizes SEO as a word, so it always marks it as a mistake. And then when I'm trying to link to it, WordPress won't allow me to until I fix that. So probably some kind of little bug with Grammarly. So you have to ignore it. you have to click on ignore so that you can link to it. So that's just a little more of a nuisance than anything else. It's obviously not that important for me to fix, but use Grammarly, check everything, check your grammar. I have a tendency to use extra commas or not enough commas, and I don't know, I guess I could never get that comma thing right, and occasionally spell a word wrong. I'm actually a pretty decent speller, but I occasionally do spell a word wrong. And Grammarly really helps with that. So update it for grammar, update it for timeliness. So make sure that the information you have is relevant to today, sorry, and add some more content. So it's always easier, I find, to add to a blog post later than it is to create a 2,000 word blog post now. So that's another positive to doing this, is that I think like I said, I think at the time I was writing blog posts that were just barely 500 words. And that's only because I know that Google, if it's under 500 words, Google will probably ignore it as far as showing up on the SERP. And I just discovered another FAQ. What's a SERP? SERP is search engine results page. So that's your Google results. Okay. So Wikipedia. So if I were to do a voice search right now, by the way, this is what's going to get returned on Google anyway. I don't know if Alexa will return or Microsoft will return the same thing, but Google will return this. So you can see this is a search engine result page. I don't know why I didn't go back and update this to show you that it did jump 91%. So within the, the 2 to 3 weeks after, I tracked. I'm a little bit of a, I don't know, a nerd when it comes to Google Analytics. I check analytics every single day for myself and for every single one of my clients. So I want to know if it took a big dip, if it took a big jump. I want to know why. I want to know what it's doing every day. And sometimes I even go out throughout the day to see what real-time traffic looks like. If something I just did sent people to the website, things like that. Make sure you have your share icons, because as you share the repurposed content and tell the people to come here to look at it, they should also be able to share it. So they should be able to, I'll tweet it right now. Hopefully I'm logged into my account. Awesome. There you go. See how easy that was? I don't have a pin, so I'm not going to pin it. I don't have a good pin, I should say. So I'm not going to pin it at the moment, but I'll find a pin and add it and then pin it later. There's Mix. So Mix took the place of Stumble Upon, Google Plus. I guess I could share it to LinkedIn. I'm not logged into LinkedIn. I have to go to my phone to do that, so I'm not going to do that right now. But yeah, make sure your share icons are there. Make sure your comments, people can comment. This was right after I redid my site, and I just moved it to AWS last month. So this was just right after I redid my site. So this is not what my site looked like before. If you've been following me for any time now, you know that would have been my third major site update. I cleaned it up. It was a lot of images all over the place. I cleaned that up on the homepage, I should say. So 91% jump. So 95, 91, I average a 93% increase, almost double each time. 100% would be doubled. And that's a big jump. That's a huge jump. That means people are coming to your site, and hopefully they're going to other pages on your site. And if they're not, if they're coming to your site and then your bounce rate increases as well, then you need to figure out why. You need to look at your site and say, okay, why are they not staying on my site? Why don't they come here and then go to services, or go to the podcast, or go down here and click on, after they read it, click on related posts? Why are they not doing that? Is there something that's turning them off? Is my site, the user experience is huge too. So those all point to, and I've talked about this ad nauseum on my blogs about engagement and why that's a huge, I think probably one of the biggest impacts to your SEO is engagement, and things like bounce rate and uh, and how long they're staying on your page, and are they commenting, are they sharing it, things like that. Those are the things that I think are going to become more and more important. Of course, you have your SSL and you have um, mobile friendliness and AMP and things like that. But if you don't have engaging content and reason for people to stay on your site, they're not going to stay. And if they don't stay, then Google's going to say, hey, what gives? So huge thing to look at is your engagement numbers. So that's bounce, time on site. Are they commenting? Are they sharing? Number of shares? Things like that. So make sure you check that and take care of that. If you need to identify things. Okay. So this is one thing right here. Make sure you have a summary at the top of your blog post that tells people why they're there. Images do help. They do help. Just don't go crazy with images. It depends on the post as well. So something like mine, and I should really create a video for this, and maybe I will. So videos help. Images help to a point. Don't overdo it unless it's an image type. If it's a photography site or something like that, then yes, of course, images are important, more important than most other sites. Internal links and external links. Clearly defining things, making it interesting, have a little humor, things like that. Your overall design, the overall flow of the website. If you have pop-ups all over the place, I've eliminated pop-ups. I had a pop-up for an ebook. I do have an ebook on my site, and I'm working on a second one. I eliminated the pop-up for that. I eliminated the pop-up to capture email addresses primarily because I don't do email lists anymore, but I eliminated that. So I've gone to websites and there'll be 2 or 3 or 4 pop-ups, and it's really annoying people, and Google doesn't like it either. If it annoys the users, it annoys Google. So just remember that. So I'm going to wrap this up here. Repurposing. Go out there, find a blog post from a few years ago, update it, give it refresh the content, refresh the grammar, update it, share it again, and you'll see a bump. I can just about guarantee it. You'll see a bump. Every time I've done it, I've seen almost double the traffic, and I've seen other people triple, quadruple their traffic from it. So repurpose the content and see if it wins. See if you win with that. I guarantee you will. So I'm going to wrap it up here until next time. I do want to, before I go, I just launched a new project. I'm going to call it a project because it's got a few other things attached to it, and it's not done yet, but go check out thedadtax.com. This is my dad blog post, my dad blog site, where I talk about things related to dad, and also I review things. So there's some affiliate marketing going on here. I'd like to make a few bucks, but I even have a fantasy football league. No, it's a free league that drafts the last Sunday of the month. So if you want to join me, please join me on that. Go check it out, thedadtax.com. All right, guys, I'm going to go. It's been fun. As always, it's been fun. Episode number 3, repurposing content to double your traffic. I think that'll be the title. And I should have it up on the site by tomorrow morning, the latest. And transcription takes forever. So probably by the end of the week for the transcription. Until next time, everybody, remember, SEO Hackers is the place to go if you want to know how to win at SEO.